I had a beautiful Parikram Raghunath, and I spent a little time in places I hadn't been lately.
Like,
Particularly at Radhakund, I went and visited the the Bhajan Kutir of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraja Goswami.
that's a nice spot.
Oh, well,
So all the
and
great saints,
again,
they had little huts. They had little
little,
houses that you can go, you can visit, you can just hang out there, you can sing songs, you can read stories.
yeah,
Love doing that. That's like a favorite day of mine. Finding
ah,
little secret places at Radhakund and just hanging out and reading.
yeah,
That's like a dream date for me and Mara, isn't it?
dream
It
date.
is. Getting a
Yeah.
Jatipur lassi, going to Radhakund, reading some
Throw the
songbooks.
lassi in there.
Well, got to eat,
Yeah,
cut up some
sure.
papaya.
Yep, yep. And that book means so much to me. And even in the past year, I've been listening to it on Audible, the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's
Oh,
where he wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita.
that's right.
And it's and even Prabhupada's purports for the Chaitanya Charitamrita have come to mean so much more to me. And just to be in that space, ah, and the pujaris are like saying, yeah, he's like trying to communicate to me, like tell me everything, and like, he
Right.
was blind, he was going blind, he was very old, his hands were shaking, and trying to give me all the details about, Krishna's
Oh,
Kaviraj.
he's trying to tell you in his broken English.
There
Um,
was practically no English, you know,
okay.
but, but I
Charades
was
with an
picking it
old
up. I was like, yes,
priest.
yes, he was blind, yes, 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 his hand was shaking.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Live from Pokhara, Nepal. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York City, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1467. It's November 14th, 2024. Welcome to Nepal. Kaustubha's live in Vrindavan at Govardhan Hill. This is our
I go
last
to
day in
Vrindavan
Pokhara.
tomorrow.
You're leaving tomorrow? We're
Tomorrow I
leaving
go to
tomorrow.
Vrindavan. Hey,
Tomorrow
hey,
we go to Kathmandu.
all right.
Yeah.
Kathmandu.
Are we doing a
The whole
show?
group's going to Kathmandu?
Yeah, that's where we fly out of.
Kathmandu. All right.
Kathmandu is it's a cool city. A lot of people give it a hard time, but it's sort of like, it's like Calcutta. Calcutta's a cool city. It's like overwhelming, but
Is it that
it's
much? I
cool.
thought Kathmandu was always the place you say like that's where you disappear to. Like it's just like it's the end of the world. Nobody's there. Maybe it
No,
used
are
to
you
be.
kidding? It's Timbuktu you're thinking of,
Oh,
or
Timbuktu.
Shangri-La. But
Well, there's that song. I'm going to Kathmandu. There's that song. I thought that was the whole idea.
I don't know. Henry says
Okay.
former President Jimmy Carter went to Pokhara. Okay. Anyway, we had a great day today. I got this very cool musical instrument. Check this out. Can you see this? It is a sort of like a violin.
Okay.
You
Here we
see
go.
it? It's yeah, sort of like
Did the
it's
did the
carved with
local
an elephant
people
head. You play it with a
did the
little
lo-
bow. The guy was playing it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sit down. I had a kirtan with this guy in the street today, and he loved the fact that I knew all these bhajans, and I don't look like I know bhajans, but we sang together. Then I went into this. So then I got this. Then I went into a puja shop, and they sell these shalagram shilas there. You're not supposed to really sell them. And I just looked at the guy, and he looked very pious. And I go, I worship shalagram shila. Give me some. And he just
give?
goes, okay. And he gave me two shalagram shilas.
Did you think
What
you
an
were
auspicious!
threatening him?
What a maybe he thought I was like a tough guy and I was shaking him down.
Maybe someone was behind you that was like scary or something.
Did he think I was robbing him? I hope not. I thought he was just looking pious. He looked really pious. We like looked at each other and we held each other's glance for a while. And I said, I
All
worship
right.
shalagram. Can you give me one? And he goes, okay. He gave me
Cool.
two, actually.
Take this very
Anyway,
seriously, Raghunath. It's not a casual thing, okay?
it's not casual. No, I'm worshiping him anyway. So They're going to be part of the family now. They're little
Are
beautiful
you going to
black
become one of these
marble
guys
like.
that has like a big pan full of like 100?
I do have a big pan. Anyway, so anyway, it's been a great day. And
Good.
this is our last day. We leave early in the morning. Then me and Mara get away for a couple days and just do nothing. For 2 days, we're going to Bhaktipur, which is that beautiful, charming UNESCO World Heritage city with these old temples. And we're just chilling out there in a cheap little hotel and unwinding.
Look at you.
Yeah, we stayed a couple extra days.
Look at you.
Yeah, then we're flying back to Delhi, catching our flight there, and then flying home. Boom. I got 2 days to rest, and I'm doing kirtan in Pittsburgh next weekend.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
Sounds great.
Okay. How was your day today, Prabhu?
Well, it was a bounce back day for me. I was kind of down for a couple of days.
Yeah.
The last show I did, it was coming on during the show, the fever,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you even listening to me?
I am. You got a fever. You're bouncing back. I hear it all. I've got two eyes, my friend. One for you and one for the message board. Just kidding. I'm listening.
So
Tell me.
anyway, I had a couple of days that were a little rough, but actually, to be honest, just to be at Govardhan, I was just listening to Chaitanya Charitamrita every day on Audible and just like relishing,
Isn't it
sleeping
great?
a lot. Yeah, yeah. And just trying to hold my stomach together, I think it was like a little stomach bacteria or virus or something like that passing through me.
Yeah.
But I woke up this morning, I didn't have a fever for maybe 15 hours or something, so that felt good. My stomach felt a little better. I just needed to go out and chant. The sun was rising. I went out to Govardhan Hill, and I thought I'd just go to the hill and chant, but I started walking, and once I started walking, I didn't want to stop, it's like.
So you walked
like,
all 17 kilometers?
it's
you did a half?
24 kilometers, I think. It's
24
14 miles.
kilometers?
Yeah, I walked
Wow.
14 miles barefoot around Govardhan Hill.
That's impressive because it's not like it's on like you're walking on pillows either. You're walking on a hot pavement. You're walking on a
A
puddle.
lot of soft sand, but
a lot
there's
of
a lot of
soft
bumps.
sand.
There's a lot
There's
of
some bumps.
too.
There's some hidden rocks.
Yeah.
You could whack your foot
And
so quick.
there's animals, little Virjabasis to deal with, all kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
a lot of monkeys. But then I got to Jatipur, which is not quite halfway, but maybe almost halfway.
That's my favorite place. Go on.
Because of the stomach problems I've been having, it's like I know that I didn't have any healthy bacteria in my gut anymore.
You got a lassi, didn't you? You got a Jatipur lassi.
Now hold on. Don't you see, Raghunath? You have to let stories unwind without jumping to the punchline. You see,
I knew where you were going with that.
That's part of the art of
You
radio.
started saying needed healthy bacteria, and you're headed towards Jatipur. You're going to the best
So I
lassi
went-
place in India.
I was very torn between, is a lassi the best? Is it exactly what I need right now, or is it exactly what I don't need right now?
That's exactly
And
what you need.
I went to the lassi place. I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put my health in the hands of Govardhan and the Brijbasis. It's the coolest little lassi joint you'll ever find. Right down an alley just full of. That alley is like a slippery slope of milk products, and pilgrims. When you have
It
to
is.
when you have to go
Milk
against the
products,
grain and up the
jalebi,
hill.
butter.
Yeah.
Well, because the followers of Vallabhacharya, they call that the mouth of Govardhan. So all these
Yeah.
people, and if you're new to the show, Cynthia Wells, forgive us for this one, but it's going to sound crazy. But this part of the mountain, they've turned into a temple. They put a roof on it, and then they just sell butter and milk products and sweets, and everybody buys them. And so everyone's carrying big jugs of milk, and they're spilling it, of course.
Spilling all
And
over the place.
Spilling it all over the place, this tiny little alley. And then they take the milk and they pour it on the hill. And that's a way of like worshiping God. Did I tell you that I found out that it's where they get the word butter somebody up? Did you ever hear that? To butter
Yeah.
somebody up, I think the British took it from when they saw people pouring ghee on the deity to get a blessing. So to butter somebody up means, is that unbelievable?
Okay, look at that. Look at that.
Yes.
So
slippery-
anyway, I fought my way up that slippery slope with, tons of, it's a tiny little alley and there's tons
Yeah.
of people coming down all excited that they're going to pour milk over Govardhan, and you're fighting against their enthusiasm, but it's joyous. You know, the whole scene is joyous, and it's just got a
festive mood, and they're the best cooks.
festive
I've stopped at
mood,
all those places.
quality,
We've had
quality.
kachoris there. We've had
Yeah.
shobadam there. We've had poha there. We've
But
had
Raghunath,
pakoras
I,
there.
I was not going to risk it. This was for the health of my body.
Yeah.
I went up to that guy, you know, the first guy on the left once you hit that intersection, and I said, "I'll take a small lassi, no sugar, right? No sugar."
You
Had to
just
do
ruined
it.
it.
There's a smart way to go. Smart, and
Eh.
he put a lot of that thick cream in there. You know, he put a ton of it in there.
I
A ton of it.
appreciate your justification for getting a lassi. See, I'm brash enough to say, you know what? I'm going to have a lassi. I'm going to go enjoy a lassi. You have to use
but
this
you know
little,
what,
like,
Raghunath? You also had a Calcutta Book Fair incident, okay? So
Yes, I have.
that's where your brashness gets you. So
yes, you're right.
so I had that, you know, the whole time just saying, okay, Govardhan, I'm in your hands, you know. And then by the time I was done, I knew
were
my
healed.
stomach had accepted that. And I knew I had a empty gut now was full of healthy probiotics. I just knew it, you know, and then I just walked with strength from there on out. I had a beautiful Prikrama Raghunath, and you know, I spent a little time in places I hadn't been lately.
Like?
Particularly at Radhakund, I went and visited the Bhajan Kutir of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraja Goswami.
That's a nice spot.
Oh, well, you
So
know,
all the
and
great
again,
saints, they had little huts. They had little houses that you can go, you can visit, you can just hang out there, you can sing songs, you can read stories. Love doing that. That's like a favorite day of mine. Finding little secret places at Radhakund and just hanging out and reading.
yeah,
That's
you
that's
know,
it's like that's like a dream date for me and Mara, isn't it?
dream
It
date.
is. Getting a
Yeah.
Jatipur lassi, going to Radhakund, reading some
Throw the
songbooks.
lassi in there.
Well, you know, got to eat, you know,
Yeah,
cut up some
sure.
papaya.
Yep. And you know, that book means so much to me. And even in the past year, I've been listening to it on Audible, the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's
Oh,
where he wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita.
That's right.
And it's and even Prabhupada's purports for the Chaitanya Charitamrita have come to mean so much more to me. And just to be in that space, you know, and the pujaris are like saying, yeah, you know, he's like trying to communicate to me, like tell me everything, and you know, like, you know, he
Right.
was blind, you know, he was going blind, he was very old, his hands were shaking, and he's trying to give me all the details about, you know, Krishnadas Kaviraja.
Oh, he's trying to tell you in his broken English.
There was practically no English. You know,
Okay.
but,
Just
but I
charades
was
with an
picking it
old
up. I was like,
priest.
yes, he was blind. Yes, his hand was shaking.
You know, I got to give a shout out to YouTube Premium and Audible because me and Mara have been on such a nice program. We wake up
You
early, we
just
chant
want to
japa.
do commercials, Raghunath. You know,
What are you talking about?
you just want to do commercials. The way that you got all perky and said that is like,
Hey, listen, hear me out here. You know, because previously these things didn't exist, and you're just sort of left with your own mind. But we're hiking
right.
through the Himalayas, and we're listening to Mother Yamuna's
Oh,
autobiography.
that's
You
great.
know, co-written by
That
Dina
must be an
Tariq.
amazing place to hear some of that, just because of the spaciousness, right?
Oh my God, I got
It must
so
open up space in your mind to
You know,
be
we do.
in, like, to be
We
up
get
on
some
top of the mountain.
earbuds. We get some earbuds. I get one. She gets the other, and we just
Okay.
walk together. We don't talk. We just
How
walk.
intimate.
It is very intimate, and we every now and then we look at each other when we hear something. Go, oh my God. And sometimes we go into tears. Oh my God. And then we go and just, oh, I can't believe that. And then they went through the whole thing. We got into book 2 and talked about living. She lived at Henry's house. She was
Yeah.
such a saintly woman with very, very high character. And she
Nice.
was like an incredible artist. And she had so much aesthetic taste. And
yes.
her cookbook, which one, I never even knew this about her cookbook, but they didn't know how to publish this book. Every publisher was like, this thing is a work of art. Like it's like a serious encyclopedia on Indian cooking, but we love it. We can't use it.
We can't
Basically,
market
she
it.
was turned down by everybody.
Wow.
Like 200 letters went out, And a lot of it, the same thing, the same appreciation. Like we really think it's a quality piece of work. You really did your research, but we can't use it. And then it was
Picked up.
Yogeshwar. It was
Yeah.
Yogeshwar
Pala books
who
or
did it.
something.
And the interesting thing was, and this is where it
The
gets
name of the,
crazy.
by the way, the name of the book is Lord Krishna's Cuisine. It's the ultimate Indian
It's the
cookbook.
gold standard
Vegetarian
of cook.
cook, yeah.
And it's mixed in with stories of her traveling with Prabhupada to different places in India,
How she
and
learned these recipes.
how she learned these recipes, little interesting stories behind them. It is like an
Great
encyclopedia.
illustrations.
And it's not filled, but it's not filled with like glossy color, glossy pages of cookbooks.
But
It's
helpful
real simple,
illustrations.
almost like a serious manual. And it
Yeah.
won over the hearts of all of these cooking connoisseurs. And they
I think it
brought
won
her
that
to,
James Beard Award or whatever, like the
well,
big awards
whoa,
for
whoa, whoa,
cookbooks.
whoa, take it back. First, it won,
Okay.
what was it?
Well,
You should know this, Mary. You're a chef. I
maybe Henry
see.
can tell us. Henry's on.
Anyway,
He's
Henry's on the show. Put it on the board. You weren't saying it? Okay. Anyway, what is the IACP award? But first it won like best Asian cookbook. And they were like, oh my God, we won the best Asian cookbook. And then she's like, well, and then they were at an awards ceremony in New York City. And then they were like, actually, we've never done this before, but the best vegetarian Asian cookbook is the best cookbook of the year. And
yeah.
they just lost their
Cookbook of
minds,
the
and they
year.
couldn't believe, and that just like propelled her to new heights of popularity and
Right.
touring that book all over. And
we're
but
gonna.
they couldn't get that thing published by anyone. And then Bala Books, well, I didn't tell you the magic here. There was some Krishna magic going on. I was living around the corner from Yamuna. I was living on West 15th Street, Bala Books, and I became the house cleaner because that's what I did in my part-time job. I cleaned people's house because I was in the band, and I cleaned Bala Books. They called me up randomly, picked my number off a telephone pole. I went
Wow.
there. Yamuna was living upstairs.
Look at that.
Is that crazy?
That's very crazy. You weren't on
I must,
mushrooms
maybe
at that
she could have
time,
even
right?
just like, she could have even looked at me and said, I'm going to bless this house cleaner. I might not
Maybe
even
that didn't
realized
happen,
who she
though.
was.
Probably,
She might have
it probably
just,
did not happen.
no, she could have like put her hand on my head and said, I'm going to
But
open
she
your third
didn't.
eye. But she might have. I don't know. I can't remember anything. I can't remember what I did yesterday. She could have embraced me, opened my third eye for me. And maybe that's why I'm sitting here right now. People giving me shalogram shilas. Maybe that's what's happening.
All right.
You know?
I'll tell you another story, Raghunath.
Okay.
I used to live on East 96th Street in Lexington Avenue. And
yes. What happened there?
And well, a billion times I would walk downtown on Lexington Avenue, and just a few blocks down, something like 93rd or no, it must be a little higher than that. It's like 95th or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. In the 90s on Lexington Avenue, there was a cookbook store, right? Like a little bookstore that was only cookbooks.
That's
Which
only in New
is
York
like-
you get stuff like that, right?
It's rare that lasts in New York now, right? It's a famous store all over New York if that's the place to go buy cookbooks.
It's still there?
I think it
cookbooks?
is.
That's interesting.
And I went in there and asked about could I get a copy of that book. And the man that was working there said, we don't have a copy of it available right now, but we can order it for you. Genevieve Pretty says it's still there because she's living. She's
Wait,
living a few blocks up from where I used to live.
were you a devotee at that time?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And this was probably 15 years ago. And I said, yeah, do you have a copy of Yamuna Devi, Lord Krishna's Cuisine? And he said, and he immediately knew the book. He said, I don't have a copy of it now, but I can order it for you. He said, but I once met the author of that book. I think he attended some book event with her or something like that.
Yeah.
And he just went on praising her about what a special woman she was. She was that kind of person that she kind of just got deep into anyone's heart, and it was just very impressive. And anyone that met her,
Yeah, she was super duper charming. They even had her on one of those what are those called? Shock jock radio shows. Maybe it was Howard Stern. I'm not sure, but the guy was trying to make her make some offense or something like that, saying like ridiculous things, and she was just straightforward.
Couldn't break her.
The only reason she was like, the only reason why I know this is by the mercy of my teacher, Srila Prabhupada. He brought me around India. I owe everything to him. He did so much for me. If you think this book is good, is I've got it all from him. She took no credit for herself. She kept her own ego out of everything. She just praised. And I'm looking at this to being a stepping stone to start to embrace the entire to show the whole world this beautiful culture of India. And it was just like, she's just so stellar. I was so glad. And she mentions shelter.
Okay,
Book
Raghunath.
2.
Let's make sure
Come
it
on.
all comes back to you every time.
Come on. Can't I feel honored? Can't I feel honored, my friend?
You can feel honored. You can feel honored.
I'm very, very. First of all, I spent the whole first book crying, practically speaking, crying, inspired, on my knees, hands up in the air.
Oh, she mentioned shelter in the book.
She mentioned shelter in the book.
Oh, that's
She mentioned
nice.
shelter
That is
in the
nice.
book.
Okay.
She says, I really don't like the music so much, but I really appreciate these boys, and they're asking me all these questions, and I'm cooking for them, and it was so sweet.
I hardly
Anyway.
ever spoke to her, just a couple times, I remember though once she was.
If
but
I
she was
could do it all
kind.
over, I'd introduce you.
Thank you.
I'd
Raghunath.
do that for you.
Maybe I did meet her. Maybe she
No,
gave me special
no.
blessings. Maybe
I don't think you did.
maybe I studied Bhagavatam with her and memorized
I
it
don't think
all.
so. She would have
But,
told me. We were really close.
Now I just forgot what I was gonna say. I had something to say, but I just forgot it. Oh yeah, now I remember. I was in the room with Radhanath Swami, and he was calling her, and it was about establishing a restaurant for the Bhakti Center. Right. This was like right when the Bhakti. This was like You might have been there too. I don't know. I don't think you were.
Probably was.
But because we were trying to figure out what to do with the ground floor, the storefront.
The
and we
Bhakti
should
Center
put a
restaurant. Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So Radhanath Swami was talking to her with the speaker on,
Oh, wow.
up in the ashram in the Bhakti Center. And he was listening to it and kind of pacing back and forth in the room. There were a few other people in the room, I think, if I remember correctly. And he was asking her about starting a restaurant in New York. What would she do, et cetera.
Wow.
And she said, well, back in the 70s or 80s, maybe, probably 80s, she said that she and someone else had attended like a full-on important kind of like course from experts about New York City restaurants.
She talked about this in the book. May I jump in here?
We were just listening to this part. And she
Okay.
said that they were so discouraging, right? That they were like 90% of restaurants in New York City fail in the first year. It was like very much like
all
a
that stuff. Yeah.
strongly worded warning was the way the book framed it out.
Yeah, that's a fact. But specifically what she said in that vein was she said that like the first thing that those people said in that seminar was, whatever you've learned about restaurants, even you may be super expert at restaurants in other places, in New York City, you can take everything you've learned and throw it out the window, because this is in a completely different environment like that. And then, Radhanath Swami was like, oh, very interesting. And, why is that? And this and that. And then she said something like, well, like New Yorkers, they all think like they really know everything. And they
They do.
Radhanath Swami just like,
interesting.
and then Radhanath Swami, like, as she's saying this out loud, he just points his finger at me and just like kind of like dismisses me.
That's so funny.
I always remember that.
Yeah.
Now, that's she's one of the most important disciples of Srila Prabhupada. But recently, another disciple of Srila Prabhupada was lost just the other day here at Govardhan. We should mention it.
Tell me. This was the Swami that passed away?
Yeah. Well, he was known. I knew him years ago as Lokasaranga Swami, but then he later became known as Paravat Maharaja, either name. Right? He was a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He grew up like in Yonkers or the Bronx.
Oh, really?
Yeah, an Italian guy, Paisan. And he was like, this is interesting because he had that kind of typical 70s Hare Krishna upbringing in many ways. He was a book distributor.
Okay.
He would go out and
Right.
sell books on the street. And those that did it with him said had his very sweet way about him in doing it. But he was, it's a surrender. It's a way to surrender your life, to surrender your heart. And he did a lot to raise funds to build the Vrindavan, the Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. And
Just
when
read all
he-
about that in Yamuna's book too.
There you go.
He was like instrumental in getting that property. Imagine buying property in India. You're like a 22-year-old lady
Not easy to
trying
do.
to figure that
Not
out.
easy to do.
Unbelievable.
Did she say, if only Raghunath were here to help me then, it would have been so much easier?
The austerities she performed of living in India back then and dealing with everything, it was so humble. I realized, like, I am the biggest complainer in the world. These people just
Right.
sucked it up and did so much service. I can't, it's almost like breaking me. It's almost breaking me to read the book, how like committed she was. It's so noble.
Mara,
You
don't
need
let him
people like
break.
that in your life. Don't
Trying to keep them together.
Okay.
you need sort of like these bright stars to light up the
Oh, to
sky,
inspire.
and she was a really bright.
And to
Okay, so
receive
I
their
interrupted
blessing.
you. I interrupted
No
you with
problem.
another Yamuna story, but please go on with about Lokasaranga Swami.
So then, he was given sannyas by a guru that later had his troubles.
Hmm.
So that meant, he took the vows of lifelong celibacy to be a monk for his entire life. And it may be that I've heard from others. It wasn't, a lot of times when you take on that role, you become like a teacher and you give classes and courses and you're being asked to speak all the time. And that just wasn't him so much. He was like a humble soul.
Hmm.
And so instead, what he did was he went up to the Himalayas and he just practiced austerities for some time. And then when he came back, he lived in Vrindavan and he just lived as, as far as I can understand, like when we hear about the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, who are really kind of like those great souls who established our lineage,
Yeah.
that he lived like them, maybe more than any of Prabhupada's followers, that he lived in Vrindavan. He was humble as a blade of grass. They say that never from his mouth would you hear him criticizing another devotee for anything. He's just, that was
nice.
And it's
I love to hear that.
because you live like that, you can live in this holy place, And he lived here for he lived at the Radha Damodar temple where Prabhupada lived, where
Most
Yamuna Devi
likely was
also
not.
there.
Yes, most likely not on Facebook. He was probably not on any social media.
No,
He probably didn't have a phone.
no. This is a man. I remember back in the '90s when we would go there, you'd always just see him different places in Brud just popping up, And he lived at Nandagram, where now Krishna
Goswami
Goswami lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. And several other places, but for a long time now he lived, just on the edge of Radhakund, the holiest place in the world, and just a very humble lifestyle, always remaining very dedicated to his Guru Srila Prabhupada, and just in his quiet way, deeply imbibing a mood of love for Krishna, and I read something on Facebook. Nandu, Nandu.
Yes, I do.
Nandu, who was his father was friends with him.
Yeah.
So he knew him as a little boy. He visited him the day before he passed away.
Oh, really?
And he said he walked into his place. He was sitting on his bed, just chanting Hare Krishna. And he said he mentioned to him that it's like time for me to. I think the phrase he used was like to get a whole new system. Like, in other words, this body is done, and it's time for a spiritual body, is what he was indicating. And the next day, he peacefully passed away
Wow.
at foot of Govardhan Hill in Radhakund. So I bow my head to such a great soul, special soul.
Prabhu, I bow my head too. I don't think I could ever live as a hermit.
I know.
What about you? You know what I mean?
don't
I just
think-
talk a lot. I talk a lot and I like to talk to people. I
he
find
would
myself
chant-
I find myself more spiritual if I'm with other people. because I'll
For
engage
the
in a
vast
conversation.
majority of us, I think that's going to be true. We need to keep our minds engaged. We need to keep our bodies engaged. He was such a simple soul that he could live
Yeah.
in Vrindavan like a simple Goswami and just be happy chanting all day. You know?
You know, and we're not recommending it. Like that's the only way to get to God here is like you leave
I
all
don't
your
recommend
friends
it.
behind. I know, and I'm not either. And I'm saying I couldn't do it. But some people are just like, they're sort of like loners, not in a weird way, just in their own way. And those people say they can click into that and they like to live alone. Sometimes when people live alone, they struggle because they're living with their mind and their mind is not happy or their
That's
mind
the
has
point.
bad habits.
You have to
Some
have a
people think, well,
settled
I'm just going to
mind.
live alone because, you know, I'm going to live away. It sounds spiritual. It sounds very romantic. I'm going to build a little cabin. I'm going to live in the woods, right? Ever see that Instagram? A lot of people do that on Instagram. Would you rather have this life and it has like a plush pool and, you know, a beautiful mansion, or with this life and it's got like a tiny cottage, a huge garden,
Right.
and 400 miles away from all people? Couldn't do that and wouldn't want to do that. I like it, like to visit it, but I like to bring friends there. I want to have friends over. I want to cook prasad, have some kirtan with people. You know what I mean?
Right.
We don't have to live like that to have a spiritual experience. But when people do, but what I find is people, they struggle to be alone with their own mind, and their mind, due to bad habits, and it influences them. It becomes like their only friend. And you need really a lot of upgrading company. And if you're not
Yes.
reading or consuming positive audible books or, you know, YouTube videos, whatever like that, then you're getting taken down by your mind. It's a slippery slope, my friend.
And
It's a
you know,
buttery path of
it's a
milk
buttery
products.
path.
The buttery
And
path of milk products.
you know, sometimes people come to Vrindavan or come to Radhakund wanting to live the lifestyle of the Goswamis who
It's
lived there.
romantic.
Well, you know, and it may be out of a romantic kind of idea. It may be, there may be ego in it sometimes, you know.
Right.
There may be, sometimes it's done out of pride also. But the thing is, if the idea is that if one has a mind that's very settled, then one can go to this holy place and go very, very, very deep, and they can meditate on Krishna's pastimes. But most of us really don't have the ability to do that very well. We need sangha. You know, we need to keep our minds and bodies engaged, and that's fine. You know, it's a perfectly valid way to practice. But if we and we should all practice a bit of solitude too. You know, we should all, you know, we should do that as well, and try to always be going deeper into meditation. But to artificially try to live the life of the Goswamis, most
I'm
people
with you.
crash.
You
Yeah.
can't artificially attack these shortcomings that we have. That is demonstrated in something I was talking about today in my morning class.
Tell me.
Ravana attacking Ram. Ravana's
Sure.
got 10 heads, okay?
Okay.
And they say this, the 10 heads represent different unwanted things in the heart, like lust and greed and anger and envy and etc. Ram is trying to cut the heads off individually.
One,
But the way
two.
to conquer all those things is you take that arrow of Lord Ram and you have it penetrate the demon-like heart. Our surrendering
I thought
to
you
Lord.
say go for the neck, but okay.
No, not go for the neck. Not go for the neck. He went for the neck. The heads. Every time he cut off the head would grow back.
All right. Go for the
So it
heart.
was like you take Ram or God, however you want to call God, light, truth, the universe, sweet baby Krishna. You take him in your heart and you have connection. And then all those things like envy and greed and lust and those start to become minimized, but you got to go for God. Don't just say, I'm going to work on my ego or I'm going to work on my being alone, or you can play with those things, but there is a way we are wired karmically, and we have to work with what we got to get to the main thing. Instead of trying to cut off each head of unwanted bad qualities, we have to go right for the heart. I give my life to divinity. And in my spiritual pursuit, I find, like, for example, you know me, I have a big mouth. So I engage my big mouth in talking about spiritual things. Instead of just talking about the usual nonsense, I talk about spiritual things, the Bhagavatam, alternative realities, alternative narratives.
Yeah, slow down. Just slow. You were great with the Bhagavatam right there.
Alternative.
Just slow down.
But you don't, and that's the magic of this whole process. We don't all have to become like these very, when you think of a priest, sometimes you think of a very solemn, grave, but then you have people like Julie Andrews. You know what I mean? She wanted to be a nun, but she
Yes,
had
Julia.
another path. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It got the sound of music.
Well, she
She
had her
didn't have to
guitar.
give up. She had her guitar. She was
Children.
different. She didn't fit in with those other nuns. She had to find her
Right.
own path. I'm a lot like Julia
And
Andrews,
then there's
Prabhu.
the whole war going on too.
And there's a war. The Nazis came into the picture, and they
then
had to escape. And they went to the Alps.
guy, the husband.
Ah,
Only it could be those two together.
yes, yes. All right. Anyway, we digress.
Another person that we should mention passed away, Raghu.
Sarath Jois passed away.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
It's
That
blowing
was
up on my
very surprising
Instagram
news
feed.
for the world, I think.
It was shocking. And you studied
Yeah.
with him, right, in India?
I did study with him in
I never met him.
Mysore as well as in New York. I met him. Yeah, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
honestly, I believe I was probably the
Real.
last person authorized to teach Ashtanga Yoga by Patabbhi Jois. And then after that, Sarath took over.
You, my friend, your resume is unbelievable.
Oh, get out of here.
Your resume is unbelievable.
Come on.
Bet people didn't even know that about you. That you got to put that more on your resume,
Ah,
on your bio.
Part of the thing is I think Eddie fast-tracked me a bit on that. Eddie Stern just kind of like,
Well, you were doing it. You
he
were
made
doing
it
the
happen.
thing.
I did it.
And
Though. But most people finish
you
the
showed
second
up.
series before they get that authorization. I didn't. I was halfway through.
You did not get the second series.
Okay,
That's not going to count.
Okay,
My
forget
book,
everything
that
I
doesn't
said.
count. Forget
Your
it.
resume sucks.
No.
But seriously,
you've
Sarath
lived a
Jois,
colorful life, and it's a big loss to the yoga community and the Ashtanga community.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Things
we're all
change.
sad.
Things change.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens to that community now, because it was kind of like he was prepared to take it on for decades.
Well, maybe this is your chance to step in and step it up. Maybe it's your calling.
I don't think
Because
so.
he
But
was
anyway,
the new Acharya of Ashtanga Yoga.
my
They
prayers to
say he
him
was
and
the last.
Raghunath, my prayers to his family and for him, for all the best.
Is his father alive?
I believe his father had passed away long before,
Oh,
if I remember correctly.
and he has kids, right? He has two
His
kids.
mother teaches, and maybe his mother will take it over now, but she must be quite elderly now too. I once cooked for them all.
Oh, really? That's a good story. These are great stories. You never told me this. I
Okay,
want
I'll tell
your
you.
autobiography, man.
I'll tell you.
And you know what? I'll buy 2, and I'll read it, and
Okay.
review it, and leave a message on
I'm gonna
Amazon
read
what
you-
I
I'm-
think about it.
I'm really looking forward to reading your book, Raghunath. I
You've
love
got
what I
a
read.
flight. You've got a flight tomorrow. You're going to Mayapur. You taking a train or flying?
Not tomorrow. I'm going to Vrindavan tomorrow
Oh, okay. When are you going to Mayapur?
on the 17th.
Listen, you going to fly
It's a
to
short
Calcutta?
flight.
I know, but you got to take a taxi. You got 3 hours in a
That's
taxi.
true.
You got a short flight. You got 3 hours to Mayapur from Calcutta.
Okay, Raghunath.
I'm going to gift you the audio.
Get
book.
out. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, I can't really
Thank
do
you.
it, but I'll pay you back if you buy
Okay.
it. I'll gift it to you, basically. I
If
don't think
double
they
it,
allow me
will
to
you
do
pay
that.
me for one of them?
I'll take it. You can listen to the audiobook on your. You have no excuse anymore.
I love it. Maybe Tara and I together can do that. That'd be nice.
Okay. Oh, he's going with you. Yeah. Share ear pods like me and Mara do. It's romantic.
Okay. So here's the deal. At the Broome Street Temple, the classic old school Broome Street Temple, I was a cook, right? I would cook for the events. Are you listening to me, Raghunath?
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
message
but
board.
no.
It's like sometimes it's funny and sometimes they're rude. She's like,
Okay.
"Let's hear the story about Kaustubha's cooking."
That's not rude. You see, that's
Well,
not
it is.
rude.
It was. That means basically you got to read between the lines. That means shut up, Raghunath. That's what it means.
Praja Sundari is like
And
our
it's Praja
cousin. She
Sundari
can
Radha.
speak like
After I
that.
prayed for your father, forget it. That's the last time I pray for anybody. All right, go on, Kaustubha.
All right. So there was this ridiculously small closet where I would cook a feast on 2 electric burners for sometimes up to 80 people.
It's almost
I
like
never
being
could.
in India. Listen to say that again, because not
They were
everybody
good.
fully took that in. And Mara, take note, because you complain about the electric stove
The
sometimes.
closet was like really small, like you could sit, like two people could sit in it. That was it. And it had a window, which was fortunate, but it had no sink. It had nothing. It had two electric burners.
Okay.
And I would cook sometimes for up to 80 people in that thing. And I'd be cooking, on different days. Everybody's doing their asanas, smelling the food coming through and all
Oh
of
man,
that.
I couldn't even do asanas if you were making pakoras and stuff in the other room.
Well, my standard meal, the standard meal was like a vegetable sabji, rice,
Imagine doing
halava.
2 hours of yoga and then going right
The
to that
halava would
closet.
drive people crazy, because it's just like when that butter is when the grain is cooking in that butter, everyone's like, But in any case, Patabbhi Jois's daughter was usually one cooking for them and they're like smarta brahmanas. They're kind of like particular. Who
Sure.
cooks for them and stuff.
How about let this white kid come in here? And,
So his daughter would cook for them whenever they would go around.
okay.
And at the end of their tour, they would end up in New York. And one year, she left her her homemade rusam powder. It was either rusam or
rusam? What's rusam?
rusam is like a spicy liquid broth that they serve in South India. What's it? Sambar? It may have been sambar.
Sambar. Okay.
Powder. So that means
Mhm.
she roasted and grounded her own spice blend. I would use that spice blend, Raghunath. It was
Mhm.
really good.
Take it to yeah.
I would steam a vegetable. I'd pour sour cream on it, blend in that thing, and people would go crazy over it. It was so delicious.
I love. Ever walk a dog and it starts to chase a squirrel? That's where we're at today. Kaustubha's
What are you
running
talking about?
squirrels. That's okay.
You're
I love it.
accusing
Are
me
you
of
kidding?
swirling right now? You asked
Well,
me to
you're
tell you
telling
this a
stories about
second
cooking.
ago.
I
Just to
didn't. Brajasundari Radha did.
No,
But I
you were
like
saying
this.
you
I
got
like
such
this story.
incredible
Prabhu,
stories.
I got
Tell
news
us
for
about
you.
that.
I got news for you. I like talking to you. I find this quite enjoyable. It's okay. It's all
right.
it
Well-
comes full circle back to a
But
spiritual
now
topic.
I'm going to get to the actual thing that you asked when I cooked for him.
Okay, what was that like?
In South India, they only make. First of all, let me say this: Halava. My guru, who was a true connoisseur of foods,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
really had it all over India and had all kind of expert people cooking for him. He said that there's one Indian dish that Westerners make better than Indians, and that's halava.
Yeah, we do. We're good at that.
Yeah, we do.
But we add
And-
crazy ingredients too.
There's that, but like particularly in South India, they only make it one way. They
Like
only make
cardamom.
they call it kesari butts, saffron, maybe some cardamom, cashews, and
It's good, but
raisins. It's lovely, but
It's
there's a
lovely,
million things you
but-
can do with it. Yeah.
we have like chocolate chips, peanut butter,
Yeah.
swirl it around. It's delicious.
Right. Yeah, we have all kinds of
There's nothing
we get the
better than like
texture right.
Snickers halava.
But we get the texture just right, It's like it's not all greasy, and so I could make it so the texture. It's not hard. It's simple, but I would make it sometimes with nuts and medjool dates,
Medjool dates. Mm.
and so
Sounds
I
great.
made that, and they offered it there in the temple, and then Patabbhi Jois said that he'd never had anything like that in his life.
Wow, that is
blew his mind.
great.
Yeah, it
Achuja
blew-
says dates, banana, ginger, and halava. That's a good one
Ooh,
too. That
like
sounds
candy
pretty good.
ginger, you mean?
You know what? Let's all put our favorite halava recipes on the board.
Banana is great if you can use.
I say
unripe
next
banana.
time me and Mara come to New York City, you're making us halava. What do you say?
Oh, I'm down. I'm down.
Oh, you made it first at the farm.
Totally.
Okay, I don't remember.
Okay.
Okay.
Apple, cashew, carrot. Carrot is a whole nother.
Yeah, blueberry. That's a big American one too. Carrot.
Blueberries.
Carrot halava is a big one. Okay.
But carrot halava is a totally different animal. That's like.
It is. That's like a different food.
You're not using the grain. You're using the carrot itself. But yeah, sure, carrot halava.
Strawberry. Vanilla.
Also in
Yeah.
their vegetable, their favorite
Okay, so
fruits.
we're not doing the Bhagavatam today, but this is all important stuff.
Everything we've talked about today is very important, Ragnar.
Okay. Anything
Can we
else?
talk about you a little bit more?
Having a very spiritual day today. This was me and
Oh.
Mara's program. We after we chant, then we put on headphones and we just hike because everyone's hiking pretty much sort of
That's
in
gotta be
silence a little
wonderful.
bit.
It's gotta be wonderful.
Well, hearing this transcendental story, and we do that for like 2 hours, and we're going through every different emotion, and then we stop and at a break, and we chant one chapter of the Bhagavad Gita,
Okay.
and then we listen to a Bhagavatam class on YouTube from Gauranga Darshan, and so we
Nice.
started going through the Bhagavatam systematically. It's been like it was like a transcendental experience. I felt like I was almost like. Don't take this the wrong way. I almost felt like I was too Krishna conscious. I was like, I need a
Easy
little
there.
bit of Maya. I'm used to.
Easy there. So what did you do to counter your all-powerful Krishna conscious, balance it out?
Then we have kirtan in the morning, kirtan in the evening.
Uh-huh.
Every time I need to take a break because of exhaustion, I was like, okay, guys, you want to take a break or do you want to do kirtan? They're like, kirtan. It's like, okay. All righty.
Good crew.
We got kirtan on the
That's a-
bus. Oh, this group was very, very good.
Is it nauseous in the buses up there because it's all windy and mountainous?
Yeah, the bus was a little nauseous, and a little nauseating, but not so bad. It was only we only took the bus to get there and to get back from there, but it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, well, that's to get there and to get back. Is there a
Well, I
third
know, but we had like
option?
6 days and 5 nights of hiking, too.
Okay.
So yeah, and
All right, Raghu.
yeah,
Maybe
we have
that's
our
it for
winding
today.
down of this holy month
Yeah.
of right.
Yeah, it's. I feel like we're both kind of wrapping up a chapter now.
Yeah, the chapter of our life.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we didn't study the Bhagavatam, but it was nice to talk to you and hear about your exploits.
Tomorrow we'll get to
Your adventures. And thanks for everybody for joining us and just hearing us out. Tomorrow, we're traveling. Are we doing the show? Oh, we're still doing it. Oh,
Yeah. We're doing the show tomorrow.
all right. Doing the show. All right. All right, everybody. Looking forward to seeing everybody at 7 a.m. Eastern time. Thanks for everybody for joining us. Thanks for everybody live. Let's spin this camera around. Here they are, everybody. Wait a second. There's
They must be
Saraswati.
sad that they're going to start to break up soon. Huh?
Oh, we got Stefan, the Austrian. We got Stacy, the New Yorker. Got Babananda, Melissa. We
I
got,
saw a lovely photo of the whole crew with the
oh,
mountains.
they're
in the
lovely.
back.
They're lovely. Krista's here. Birthday week. We've got Liz. Well, documented the entire thing. In case you didn't document it, she did. Liz is going to Everest tomorrow. Taking a helicopter to Everest, right? Or the next day. Paul, feeling good? Feeling inspired? Anyway, thanks everybody for joining us live. Who we got here today that I can say hello to? Dan Murphy, Paramananda, Hannah Brinkhouse, Jiu-Jitsu Naf, Nami Long, happy birthday to Jimmy James.
Big 50, that's a big one.
50s 50, man. Joey's
Pizza
here.
tonight?
DC Double U. Udi's here. Hey, Udi. Udi and Henry. Look at these two. It's like father and son, these two. Hey, Henry, I want you to tell Udi the story of how you and Yamuna went to... Let's unmute Henry here. I'm muting you right now, Henry. Hi, Henry. Unmute, please.
Hi, Boo. Hi, Paul. How can I serve you?
Oh, I just wanted to. So I don't understand. You went to the famous artist B.G. Sharma's house with Yamuna?
Yes, so I was in Vrindavan with Yamuna, and I went to Vrindavan with Yamuna and met Yamuna and Dina there. And I said, hey,
You met them for the first time there?
No, I'd known them for a while. But I met
Okay.
them over there and we were hanging out. And I said, hey, why don't you jump in my car and we'll go to Udaipur and stay at the Lake Palace Hotel. And then I'll take you over and introduce you to B.G. Sharma. So we all
Oh,
got in the car and took like a week-long trip to Rajasthan.
Wow.
that's so. Now, did you go to have that private darshan of Srinathji that she mentions in the book?
I was there. I was right with her,
I
and
was
we
there.
got back in. Oh yeah.
That's so cool. You had a private darshan of Srinathji.
Oh, I tell
Oh
you, Raghunath,
man.
today at Radhakund, I saw a painting on the wall
Yeah.
of, that deity, that Srinathji,
Srinathji. Yeah.
who in the Chaitanya Charitamrita is called the Gopal deity, right?
Yep.
If found by Madhavendra Puri. And then Sri Chaitanya came, when he came to Vrindavan, he wanted to see that deity, but it was up on
somebody's
Govardhan
house.
Hill, which he would never climb up. He would never climb the hill to see it. And in his heart, he was like, if only I could see that deity. And then there was some fear of some Muslim invasion. And so they took the deity down.
They hid him in
And there's a
Ganguli
painting.
Gram.
Huh?
They hid him
There's-
in Ganguli Gram.
There's a painting. There's a painting of the devotees carrying that deity and dancing, and Sri Chaitanya dancing in front of the deity at Radhakund, and it's very beautiful.
Oh,
Very beautiful.
wow. And they said that Yamuna said that he would paint with sometimes the hair of a squirrel to make fine lines. And then he interrupted and said, but that squirrel was never harmed or killed, and we fed it prasad and let it go.
Well,
Isn't that a
you
great
know
story?
that famous painting he has of Kurukshetra, of all the warriors in Kurukshetra lined up, and
Can't remember. Can't remember.
there's a beautiful painting it has. It's done on a piece of ivory, and it's
Can't say that.
both
go
armies
on.
on both sides, and then Krishna and Arjuna in the middle in the chariot. And you look at it, and it's got incredible detail, but from what I understand, it's on a very, very small piece of
The detail of his work is incredible.
little
Henry's got
squirrel
the
hair detail.
biggest collection east of the Mississippi.
He's like, no.
Okay, we got to go though. Henry, we love you. And everybody, thanks for joining us. That's the show. Beautiful day for a beautiful day. See you tomorrow in Kathmandu. All right, Bo. Let the magic continue to flow.